Hi, everybody. You're joining us in the Voice of Faith, and this week we are gearing up for the event Beat Depression right here in Hong Kong, helping the community, no matter your background, no matter where you are from. Everybody may have encountered at least one person in their family, in their surroundings, at work, at school, that suffers with depression. And there's nothing more painful because a person with depression, you want to help them, but you know that you may feel powerless or hopeless because you cannot go inside of that person. Actually, the Bible knows about this condition called depression. I'm going to help you with that so that we can find a solution, overcoming depression without medication. Let's read here. No one can know a person's thoughts except that person's own spirit. And no one can know God's thoughts except God's own spirit. Very well. So this is very clear. You cannot read my mind. I cannot read your mind. You don't know what's going on inside of me. And I don't know what's going on inside of you unless I tell you. But most people, they suffer in silence and they have a lot of stuff going on in their heart, in their mind that they don't talk about. A good example is not long ago, a couple of days ago here in Hong Kong, where we were all shocked with the news in a school where a 13-year-old girl with a 30-centimeter knife, she stabbed a classmate. When the principal gave the interview, he reminded the journalist that that girl was always very quiet, very reserved. Nobody knew what was going on in her mind. She was always quiet. But then one day, when she lost control of herself, she stabbed the classmate. The day after, nobody turned up in school. All the students, they stayed at home because they were afraid going to school. Now, we know that this is something very extreme. However, surely that person, that teenager, 13 years old, she may have been suffering from a form of depression. Could be anxiety, panic attacks, but a form of depression inside of her that nobody knew about. Because if people knew about her aggression, that she would use a knife, then they would have been able to prevent this or take certain preventive measures. So we see here that people that struggle with depression, often they don't talk about it. And we know that not talking about it will isolate the person and will create a void, a vacuum, where the person will be talking to themselves. And maybe you're a person like that. You are struggling with a trauma, something happened in your life, and in your mind, you're talking to yourself. You don't talk to anybody else around you, because if somebody knows about it, you may feel embarrassed, you may feel ashamed, because others don't know about it, and nobody can help you. Of course, we know that we should talk to the right people confidentially. If you get the right help and you speak to somebody professionally, so you will be accompanied in a proper way. We don't just take our problems and just post them on social media. But especially here, we are learning something very powerful, that there are two spirits in this world. We have the spirit of the world and the spirit of God. The spirit of God promotes life, purpose, hope, positivity, forgiveness. The spirit of the world, which you can witness when you open the newspapers, when you watch the news, on social media, the spirit of the world, what the world often promotes, even in Hollywood and towards teenagers, is aggression, hurt and pain, public humiliation, violence. That's just a few things that the world promotes. There's a long list of how people get hurt mentally, emotionally. So if a person suffers with depression, obviously the spirit of the world is attacking them. The spirit of the world is present. The spirit of the world is dominating them, hurting them. The only way to remove the depression is by eliminating the spirit of the world, the voice of the world, the voice of confusion, and replacing it with the Spirit of God. That's when depression can be overcome. And I want to share with you here the following verse. And we have received God's Spirit, not the world's spirit. So we can know the wonderful things God has freely given us. Okay. So this is the remedy of depression. Depression can be overcome without being dependent on medication for the rest of your life. Depression is related as well to feelings and emotions. We are not robots. You are not a robot. You're a human being. You will always have feelings. And if you need to be dependent on tablets to suppress your feelings, then you're no longer a human being. It will be very hard and difficult to be dependent on tablets for the rest of your life. That's not ideal. I'm not against treatment. I'm not against doctors or clinics. I just want to show you that there is a spirit behind the behavior of a person. There's a spirit behind certain thoughts that we cultivate. There's a spirit, there's an idea behind people, their practices, their outbursts, violence. This is not something we learn when we grow up at work, at home, I mean. These are spirits. And if you remove bad spirits, if you remove evil ideas, if you remove ideas that are self-destructive and self-harming, when these bad spirits are driven out and you allow the Spirit of God, the Spirit of creation to enter, He can restore everything. He can wash the mind, clean the thoughts, and He can produce life and purpose and peace and strength and hope. For more information on this, scan the QR code right now and speak to one of our counselors, non-judgmental, confidential, so that you may learn that there's a solution to your problem. And you may be here for the first time watching. You may not have any symptoms of depression. Thank God for that. Perhaps you know somebody in your circle of friends, family, workplace, somebody that you care about, perhaps even a neighbor that is struggling with depression. Then send this message to them. Make sure that you forward the message so that someone can find the help they need. All right? We are going to conclude our program, Voice of Faith, and here's the invitation for the weekend. On 26th of May, on a Sunday, in 3 different languages, Tagalog, Chinese, and English, you'll be able to attend our event. This is the address in Kowloon. Scan the QR code for more information. All right, I believe somehow this may have helped you or somebody that you know. We'll be back tomorrow to listen again to the Voice of Faith. Join us again. Bye-bye.